good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, whoever you are, wherever you are. I am Laura D.P.ism, the founder of D.I.P.ism, the only grief clinic that is catering for those of the global majority with regards to cultural competence and grief acceptance, awareness, and decolonization. I want to introduce you today to Sarah. Sarah has trained with D.I.P.ism as a cultural grief practitioner. And we are going to be having a discussion today about secondary loss. So, hi, Sarah. Thank you for joining me. Would you care to elaborate on your person, please?
Okay, so thank you for this opportunity, first of all. It's great to be able to share from experiences lived and yet to be lived. In terms of what I do, I focus mainly on estrangement and what that looks like for the global majority, having had a estrangement experience from both mother and father, and yet still found my power to be who I am and to express that power through lived experiences. You can overcome and find out your who am I in this big world in which we live. And so being able to train in the grief arena allowed me to marry the two together to talk about what estrangement means when the person has passed or the person is no longer present in your story, and what that looks like for you, the individual, to awaken the champion within you, to find out your truth, your pathway, your purpose. And so those are my passions. My business is replenished life, because I do believe that when you find your who am I, you replenish yourself, you restock your thoughts, you lift the limited beliefs, and you're able to walk in your person unapologetically and in your power. And it's amazing the attraction that you have with other people see that and are attracted to that strength. So if I can be a beacon of light to anyone today, that's why we're having this conversation.
Okay, perfect. The who am I is a very, very important question, isn't it? And I think it's one that most people are now starting to ask themselves. Who am I? Especially I've found at times when we have experienced the loss of a loved one.
Yeah.
And so it kind of causes us to actually assess our lives. I've said recently that many of the people that we brush shoulders with don't even realize that they are alive until they either have a diagnosis or somebody that they know or love is snatched away from them. And that for me is the gift that is given with death. It's that ability to look back on your life and figure out, what am I doing? Why am I here? What is my purpose? What has that person brought to my life? What is the gift of their life that I can take into the future? So I know that you and we both made contact, well, you made contact with me because a person that you were close to had laid her body aside, and you were dealing with grief at that time. Would you like to explain a little bit about what it was that drew you to D.I.P.ism?
You know, in the world of TikTok, um, while you find people may find it as an escapism, I found it as an answer for me,
Okay.
because I didn't know how to compute what had happened. I didn't know how to, and I'm a person who likes to support others and go the extra mile. And when I tell you I love you, you know and you feel it. So being in the situation in which I was in, I was able to find relief and a pathway for my own understanding through connecting with D.I.P.ism. It was a really intense time. You know, I didn't know the person exceptionally well. However, the person shared the same faith as I did. And one of the things I've noticed in those who are about to leave the world and are people of faith, they have capacity up to the very last couple of days. Like, it's crazy. It's like she was compos mentis, despite her lung condition that she'd been suffering with for a number of years.
Right.
And she could hold conversation with me, which was just enriching. And she said, there's something about you that needs to be out there. Like, you have brought love to my life. You've brought, I read scriptures with her. We prayed together. We connected on a faith ground. And I think there's a gift in me which I don't always notice, but I think it's noticed by others. And to be in that experience where you're closest to the other side, for me, was so empowering. I found my purpose in that passing. That purpose to get involved in the grief work and to make a difference. I didn't know that would be the pathway, but she was able to, through her transition, enlighten me to say, no, if you could do this for one, you could do this for many. And she was a parent, and one of the things that came through for me was our parents are stewards, they're not owners. That came through very powerfully for me in that season, because I think there's a lot of those of us who are estranged from our families for whatever reason. We carry a lot of negative energy and ups, and rightly so in the journey. It is a journey. I'm not completely over the journey. I'm on the way, but I found my purpose in seeing that they are stewards and they get it wrong at times.
Yeah.
So you've stewarded me to a point. Now I need to walk in my pathway and my purpose.
Okay.
That's what was that experience for me in 2022. Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say how amazing that you were able to share that time with that special lady. The end of life, to be able to witness it, to witness that transition, somebody making that transition, is a real honor. It's a sacred space. And to be welcomed into that space, you said that you received, but I'm so sure that she also received as well, which is priceless. It's priceless. Having been bedside, let's say, it's one of the most, it's static. There's an energy there, and you cannot not feel it. You cannot not be a part of it, and to find yourself in those situations, even if it's a shock, it's unplanned, just know that everything, happened as it was supposed to. And, that kind of brings me on to what you were saying about our stewards.
Right.
Always getting it right.
Right.
I think they do. I think they get it right. I think they get it right time and time again. No matter how painful it is, they do it right, and they do it for us. Because who would you be if you had the perfect stewards that you expected or thought that you should have had? Who would you be? What would you be doing? Would we be talking now?
Right. And I say that often, actually. I do actually say that. When people say, oh, I'm so sorry for you that you haven't spoken to your dad in 3 years. And I said, don't say sorry. Don't be sorry for me. Do not be. I appreciate where you're coming from, but it's made me who I am. So, in alignment with what you just said, it's definitely something that my tenacious personality and my self-awareness and being able to go through life in the journey, the highs and the lows that I've experienced, is because they knew they had to do what they had to do. As ugly as it has been.
Yes.
The diamond has come through.
I read somewhere once that somebody said, and I can't even remember where it came from, perhaps your worst enemy is your best friend.
This is it.
Yeah,
this is
perhaps.
It. I think even just to talk about it on a faith perspective, Christ had 12 disciples, yet without Judas, the purpose wouldn't be established. So there you go.
That's it. Gotta love him. Oh, Judas, where would we be without him?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. So you did embark on the training along with 13 others. How did you find the D.I.P.ism grief therapy training?
You know what? I used to fear death. I no longer do.
Right. Okay.
I feel like the D.I.P.ism journey has enabled me to get that. And again, we fear things we don't understand.
Yeah.
So now, having been exposed to such information has
Mm.
given me an informed directive about the death journey. And it is a transition, and you
Yeah.
do become an ancestor, and it's not to be scared. It's something in our community that we do not talk about.
Yeah.
My other half said I wanted to get life insurance. The son said, no, 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 not yet. Don't need that because it's not necessary. and
Mm.
and we're revisiting that at the moment because it is a necessary thing to get, and the preparations
Mm.
beforehand, because it cannot be something we no longer talk about. So with regards to D.I.P.ism, it enabled me to. It's so rich, so rich. I felt like it was a deep dive into understanding what it's like for us, people of color across the diaspora,
Yeah.
the global majority, and the differences and the different ways in which we grieve, and the support that we do or do not have,
Mm.
and how um, it's a breakthrough. It's a breakthrough program.
Yeah.
It really is. But I believe you have to be ready in order to
Mm.
go through that pathway and that learning. You have to be ready. Now, being someone who was brought up in the Pentecostal faith, I have had to unlearn to relearn.
Oh, that's deep.
I have had to unlearn to
Are there
relearn.
new perspectives then that you have picked up, or?
One of the things I thought about one of many,
Okay.
was about somebody who takes the pathway of unaliving themselves.
Okay. Okay.
And in the faith that I was brought up with, those who choose to do such things are
Mm.
not honored in the
Mm.
afterlife, let's say.
Okay. Okay.
Now, I now understand that person, that was their journey, their assignment, it was their pathway.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I need to detest. I
Mm.
actually need to embrace and understand. And now, because of the breakthrough program, I definitely see it differently. And I thank you for that,
Okay.
among many other things, um,
Wow.
in that process, because I've had to really battle with myself with several different things throughout the faith journey,
Mm.
and allowing, and this is why I say you have to be prepared to expose yourself to a different perspective. And yes, bring your questions, and yes, bring your understanding, but be open-minded,
Yeah.
because we are so programmed, those of us of faith,
Mm.
programmed to believe one way and one way alone. And yet we talk about Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Why not talk about ancestors?
Yeah.
Why not honor our grandmother, grandfather, whoever, you
Yeah.
know, and actually have that connection, um,
Mm.
and the importance of the community, and why we do what we do, and the richness and the truth of what we do in the global majority, and how it's been so disgraded because of the Western world. And yet, this is why we continue to have pains and ailments and things within our bodies, because we're not going back to the beginning and how things need to be for
Yeah.
people in the diaspora.
Yeah.
And this was a space that we could dare to take off the mask
Yes.
and actually acknowledge what our ancestors have done and how important certain aspects of the grief process is for us, and it's unapologetically the right thing to do. So I stand empowered, I stand enriched. I'm Yeah, I will do it all over again.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. That's a testimony right there. So thank you. You've brought up so much. You have said so much. You know, it's so true what you've said about the Bible and the ancestors. The book of Numbers talks about this person, the son of this person, the son
Yeah,
of this person, you know?
right, right.
If it wasn't important, then they wouldn't be talking about the lineage, you
That's
know?
true.
We know about Jacob and Esau. We know who their father was, who their mother was, who their grandfather was, and so forth. You know, if the bloodlines weren't important, it wouldn't have been an issue. It wouldn't have been brought up. It's not something that we would know about. We have been swayed in a different direction,
Absolutely.
but we can actually see even today that bloodlines are considered very important in other Western backgrounds. So why not us? Why are we demonized for thinking about our ancestors?
Exactly.
Also, you know, oftentimes we can fall into that belief that once somebody has died straight away they are instantly an ancestor, and that's not the case.
Mm.
Just like in this life, we go through processes. Once we lay our body aside, there are also processes that have to be followed, and it can take some time before somebody does become an ancestor. That doesn't mean though that they don't reach out and that, you know, communication isn't possible. But when you do have a good communication network, when you have that connection with your wise and well ancestors, nothing tops it. The
You know,
guidance is second to none.
just yeah, I think because there's so much power in it, you know, so
Mm.
much richness, and there's so much. I can't even like the energy is so profound. So the Western world had to demonize it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. It was working actively against them, you know?
Yes.
And yeah, so nowadays, you know, but unfortunately, it's something that we ourselves fear. We fear it through religion, we fear it through learned beliefs, stories that we've been told. And because we are misusing the power that we don't realize that we have,
Mm.
certain things that perhaps we just take for granted. No, that's your power, that's your ability. But we don't know because nobody's been there to point it out to us. So yeah, courses like this, wow, for me, it was an amazing 8 weeks to be able to go through with you all, to be able to go to the depths that we were able to go to. And it made me even realize that that there was a very advanced course. That was
Yeah.
very advanced. It was very deep. When I run it again, I don't know whether it will be that advanced because there was a lot to take in. Um, just so that people who are watching can see, there is a QR code
Right.
of the course in its basic structure. So that's an online course, and there are actually 3 there that cover the chapters of Tapestries of Grief, from which the course is taken from. It's better to do that basic course and then to do the advanced course, because then we can get even deeper,
Right.
but to a level that kind of cuts time to an extent.
Yeah.
But today you wanted to talk about secondary loss.
Yes, I did.
Yes. And how that affects people when they have experienced a loss, whether it be through somebody who has laid their body aside, or whether it has been through the loss of your health, maybe the loss of your job, career. It could be the loss of an animal. It could be the loss of a friendship or a relationship, you know? So yeah, the secondary losses. If you'd like to just elaborate on what a secondary loss, how would you describe a secondary loss, Sarah?
You know, you said something earlier. You said with death or with a breakdown of something, it helps you to feel that you're alive.
Mm,
'Cause-
mm,
And that is it. I think we get comfortable, we get complacent, we think that everything is going to remain the same forever, ever, amen. But
yeah.
actually, when something that we have placed trust, hope, and faith in, for whatever reason, comes to an end,
Mm,
we have to look at our deck of cards and say,
mm,
this is the hand I've been dealt.
Yeah.
expectedly or unexpectedly, and how do I then navigate to win? And I think that could be children who you are now the sole provider. It could be a mortgage that you had planned and you were halfway through, and now the person is no longer with you. Or it could be a course that you went to do and for whatever reason has gone completely wrong. So your pathway is a bit skewed. There is I believe that you in the loss and the breakdown of whatever it was or whatever it can be, in that coming alive to self, is to sit with self and to feel whatever it is that you need to feel. I think a lot for me personally, I've had to logicalize a lot of things. I've had to say, okay, right, so this happened, so now this needs to happen. And no, give yourself a minute. Give yourself a minute to breathe and
Yeah.
to recognize self,
Yeah.
as opposed to just running on how to find the solution, answers to the questions, or resolving whatever it may be. But sit with self and allow wisdom to flow, so that in the understanding, in all thy getting, get understanding.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that speaks to me even in this moment. I think we automatically want to go to fix mode, especially those of us who are an elder sibling, or those of us who have always assumed some sort of responsibility in whatever way. We then want to take the mountain, but it's enormous, and you are grieving whatever that is, in whatever way, whatever category. So allow yourself to breathe, be still, and then strategize piece by piece. I think tomorrow is not promised to you. Tomorrow is a gift. Tomorrow is something we look forward to. We loosely say see you tomorrow, but is that a guarantee?
Yeah.
So as much as you think, okay, the next 5 years I need to do ABC, or next 2 years, or whatever the time frame is, because you've lost something or someone, sit in the present.
Yeah, it comes down to what you're saying as well about time. And you said, time is an illusion. It's a man-made construct, just before we started. And so often we feel that we have to rush, not only ourselves, but other people as well. If they don't seem to be moving at the speed that you'd like them to, then sometimes that can cause stress for yourself, discomfort for yourself, because you're looking at this illusory construct that seems to be pushing, constantly pushing. But, when I'd say ascendants, when those that went before us, when they did experience enslavement and colonialism, they were never given the opportunity to stop and
Yes.
take a breath. So it's really rather much a program that runs within us, that makes us believe that if you're not doing something, then you must be lazy. What do you mean you're sitting down? Sitting down doing what? Even if you're sitting down, you must be doing something, you know?
This is
We've
it.
also got this work ethic as well, that is a program that we should be constantly on the go, constantly striving. The devil makes work for idle hands, so keep those idle hands very busy.
Right? Yeah.
The programs are there. They are subconscious more than they are conscious to us. And sometimes when we have experienced the loss of a loved one, we can find that we go into autopilot. Let me sort this, do this, tell this, inform the person, make sure this happens, that happens, got to go here, got to go there, got to. And once that funeral is over, that homegoing ceremony, and to all intents and purposes, the physical element is gone, we stop. That's often the time that we crash.
Yes.
Other crashes come when, oh my gosh, they used to pay those bills. Oh my gosh, they used to collect Johnny from school. They
Right.
used to go to parents' evening. That second income is now gone. Who am I going to talk to? Who's going to listen to me? Sometimes we don't actually grieve for the person who has died. We grieve for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the impact on us, you know, and how am I going to navigate this mess?
Yeah. Yeah. And now I have to go back to work and I've had too much time off, but I need the money because I've had to pay for this funeral and all the rest that goes with it. And did I even do it right? But now the MOT's due, you know, there is so much. There is so much that we find ourselves juggling when we experience a loss. That could be the loss of a relationship if you've just had a divorce, especially if it's been a really painful one. You know, you may have found that you've been doing a lot of the work before the person even left or before the person even died. But once their physical presence has gone, it can hit you like a ton of bricks.
Completely.
Mm,
Completely. There's one thing in theory, you know, getting all your ducks in a row in theory, but when it comes to the practice, that person, death is in this realm, the final in this
yeah,
realm.
yeah,
You know,
mm,
you cannot go and sit down and have lunch with them anymore. You cannot,
yeah,
you know, hear their voice in this realm
yeah.
anymore. So yeah, how do I manage? How do I, and you know, and you really find out the strength of who you are
Mm,
in that time, you know. And because again, the people that are your friends and the people that are your construction, you know,
mm.
to scaffolding to hold
The
you up,
scaffolding, yeah.
right? They may not always understand.
Yes.
So be prepared for a shift in in the scaffolding. Prepared
Mm-hmm.
for new pieces to hold you up.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's it. You know,
Because
when go
yeah,
on. Mm,
not everyone will understand why you've just gone into silence, or why you no longer call them, or why you've decided to move house, or whatever
mm,
it may be.
yeah.
Humanity
Yeah.
have their own understanding, and the beautiful thing, those people that can grow with you go with you,
Yeah.
you know. But those
Yeah.
who can't, for whatever reason, it's
Mm.
sometimes time to get off the bus.
And it's okay. I
It's
think that's
okay.
another thing that we don't realize. Sometimes, you know, we are mourning the loss of friendships. Perhaps if somebody that we have loved or cared about deeply has died, we might realize that actually those were their friends. They weren't
Right,
actually my friends.
right.
And now that they've gone, um, did I actually have anything in common with them ever at all? Was there anything there? Did they ever really care? Was this actually, excuse me, was this actually a genuine alliance? Let people go. And oftentimes it's when you let people go that new people can come in.
That's absolutely correct.
Mm. But then again, as well, as you know, give yourself that time, because when you know who you are and what you want and what you deserve and what you need, then you can assess the level of people that comes in.
Yeah.
Their vibration will be one that matches you, as opposed to matching the people that were around you that are no longer there.
One of the
Mm,
things I always say, and I think this through experiences, is that people are a bonus. No
mm,
matter if they're parent, if they're friend, if they're sibling, whoever. Because the reality is, wherever you go, there you are.
yeah.
So this is why it's really important for me to home in on with my clients about who am I.
Mm,
And so many of us, as you know, you said in the beginning, you know, we're just moving through life, but we're not
yeah.
really alive.
Mm, yeah.
And there is a bittersweet feeling in the loss of something, because it's
Mm,
a new experience, a new perspective, a new chance for us, as opposed to going through same old, same old, same old, and thinking that that's where you place your trust, that's where you place your hope. But actually, yourself, who are you? Stop running around for everybody else. Take a minute for self, you know?
yeah.
And it's okay. And it's okay. And sometimes it's gonna be an ugly space, because there'll be a lot of tears.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in the
Your tears are
tears,
necessary.
tears are necessary. And it's funny, before we came on the call, that there was a sudden downpour of rain on my
Mm.
way home, and I said, "Look at that! I've got a conversation with Laura about this particular subject, and the power of the rain, like just to wash away so
Yes.
much that the day held before." It's like the perspective. It's all about perspective, and I'm grateful
Mm.
to have an open mind now. Like I said, you're born and you're brought into the faith, and you have this way of thinking and
Mm.
question, question. It's okay to question.
Yeah, it is. I was also raised in a religion, and I was led to believe that it wasn't okay to question. To question was to blaspheme.
Right,
How dare you question? Who do you
right.
think you are? You know? But I love what you just said about the rain, because it rained here as well in Yorkshire. And it's about perspective, again, a word that's probably going to come up a few times in this conversation. For some, it could be a real inconvenience. I can't believe it's raining. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get my hair wet. Oh my gosh, my clothes. Da, 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 da. For others, it's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity for the plants to get the well-needed sustenance that will allow them to see daylight once again. You know,
This is it.
it will
Yeah,
allow us. Yeah, it's growth. It's beautiful, and it's a form of libation that is pure, as
yeah.
pure as chemtrails can allow it to be. But yeah.
Yeah.
And so we may experience losses, we may experience inconveniences, we may experience, those things that we weren't expecting in that first year since losing a loved one. And we can look at it as like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. What am I going to do? We can either spiral up or we can spiral down.
That's it.
The decision is completely ours. Hmm.
And that is the thing we miss, that
Mm.
we have the choice to change
Yes.
perspective. A lot of the time, because of the honor of the family,
Mm.
we choose to think like the family, even
Mm.
though within us we know we think differently, but to conform, we have to fit in alignment. But some of
Yeah.
us dare to be brave enough to think differently, and that is at cost.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Yes.
But would you rather have inner peace
Mm.
or an outward show?
Mm.
And that again is self-actualization. Um,
Mm.
because you have to live with you wherever you go.
That's it.
And that's
Yep.
speaking from experience. Now walking in my own truth, I feel
Mm.
I feel more free than I have ever felt.
Beautiful.
And it's been a brave decision. It's
Mm.
not been easy, but I'm here
Mm-hmm.
and I'm
Mm.
giving hope and light to others because of my journey. And that's the power that we have. And it's yeah, I just hope that something we share today is able to really impact someone who's thinking about that and thinking, I want to do different, but the
Mm.
family says they do it this way.
Mm.
You know,
It's those unspoken rules, isn't
that's
it?
correct.
Those unspoken rules that cannot ever be broken.
Right.
How dare you go outside of those guards or boundaries or expectations. I had expectations for you, Sarah, and
Right.
you've completely messed it up. How dare you not be the person that I created in my mind for you to be?
This is it.
I just want to go back to what you've just said as well about wherever you go, you take yourself with you. And you mentioned before about those who choose to lay their bodies aside, those who end their lives. Um, there is so much that I could say, but what I will say is that oftentimes when they wake up on the other side,
Mm.
and they have laid the body aside and the physical is there, they find that actually I'm still me. Oh my gosh. I'm still me. I thought that I had left it in there and then I could just float off and be free.
Mm.
No, these bodies are our I call this my spaceship. I
Yeah.
am in here. This is a device, and I'm still trying to get to grips with it. Really am, you know. But the trauma and everything, although it can manifest in sickness within the body, it's actually up here. And it's from here that everything else flows either upwards or downwards, you know? So for anybody who may be thinking that that's a way out, I'm sorry. It's something that is available to you if that door opens. But be assured that whatever's going on here, you will take it with you, and it does have to be resolved.
You know.
So you can either do the work over there, or you might find that you come back to Earth again to be born into a traumatic situation so that you can do the work on Earth to clear those bloodlines, to clear those generational traumas that have been handed down to us, because oftentimes it's not actually ours,
Mm.
Sarah. A lot
Mm.
of the rubbish that we go through is not ours. It's not actually anything to do with us.
Yeah.
But for those ancestors, those who have walked the earth before us, who didn't get that opportunity, as we've said, oh, you was beaten yesterday. How do you feel? Do you want to take a rest today? And, just sit down on that log. Let's go down to the river and let's just talk about this. Let's have some therapy around this. Let's do some group work. There
Yeah.
was never an option for those that went before us. That's why people like you and I are facilitating those spaces now for that healing to take place.
That redemption. Yeah. I think
Mm.
it's very, very rich because as a person of faith, for me, we are spirit, we
Mm.
have a soul, and we live in a body.
Mm-hmm.
So, when that time has come to lay the body to rest, just to reiterate what you said,
Mm.
you still have that soul and that spirit within the body. So
Yes.
no matter where you go, you still are who you are on earth as in heaven. On
Yes.
earth, it's the same.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, that's an understanding that is very powerful to actually master.
Mm.
Back to the course, you said it was a master class, and it really was. It really, really was. It was a chance for 14 of us
Mm.
to come with our learned experiences,
Yeah.
our own journeys, our
Mm.
opportunities to share.
Mm.
And, we poured into one another.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
an equal experience, and we all came away with richness
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
in order to be lights in the world.
Yeah.
So, because, yeah, the work is very abundant.
It is. Yeah. And we're living at a time where the situation appears perhaps to be I want to say getting worse, but I would also say that in getting worse, it's actually getting better,
Mm.
because we are being given opportunities to learn and grow and look deep within. And as you've said, yeah, it's painful,
Mm.
but this is the work. It is painful. It's the
Yeah.
darkness and the light.
Okay.
And the darkness is just as important as the light, maybe even more important,
Mm.
because it's by going to those places that we actually know who we are. And I get the idea from this conversation that our identity is very important to you, Sarah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, being someone who was born from a West Indian father and a white British mother,
Mm-hmm.
and being predominantly raised by a West Indian father,
Mm-hmm.
identity, even down to the color of my skin, was something that I struggled with for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
And then when they said, "Oh, she looks like her mum," I was like, "But my mum's white." So I, that was a whole thing, not being raised in a two-parent household, and then understanding my preferences and who I am, and I'm different from my siblings in so many
Mm-hmm.
ways, and yeah, so having the passion for who am I is where it all began for me, and so therefore being able to give that to others
Mm-hmm.
is is my yeah, it's my high. When I
Okay.
see that breakthrough work is people are realizing,
Mm,
you don't have to be chained to faith or to anything other than who you are at your core.
mm,
And that's where you find your power. So identity is something that has been very profound for me
yeah.
throughout
Okay.
the throughout my life thus far. Yeah.
Mm. I suppose as well, like, I'm just listening to what you've said, and, all of those different aspects of you, as well as being raised in the Pentecostal church as well, on top of all of that.
Right.
Um, Oftentimes throughout our lives, aspects of our personality die so that more new, fresher perspectives come in. And you've given an example of some of the things that sort of changed your mindset through the training, because you came with an open mind.
Yes.
Um, how would you describe the training? I don't know whether that's a hard question. Like, would you say it's a challenge? As it was, because you went through the pilot course. We hadn't done anything like that before. We're not going to do it like that again. We're not looking to overload. But how did you find that? Because you would be one of our, top grief practitioners who in time will be training other people. So how would you describe that experience that you had?
Did it take me out of my comfort zone? Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think that's the place where growth occurs.
Mm.
When you come with, this is my ideas, this is my concept, this is my understanding, and I'm unshakable,
Mm.
you go away with nothing. And I think what was really important was the participation, the group participation. It enabled me to bring forward some of my ideas, perceptions, opinions, and so forth, and actually
Mm.
be challenged and say, actually, maybe look at it in this way.
Mm.
And, the growth that occurred because my thoughts were challenged and challenged in a very positive way.
Yeah.
I felt held. I felt engaged. I felt involved. You really have to go and do the homework for yourself. Like really,
Yes.
the homework away from the class. It gives you a chance to be with self and take what you've learned and apply it
Yeah.
in your responses to the homework that we got, and also for me the triad. It was a
Yeah.
triad. Yes,
Yeah. The triad. Yeah.
I was blown away with the triad. Honestly, I, I think you have to prepare. In order to do that, you have to be fully present. And I was proud of myself. I showed up for myself.
Yes.
And I did what I know I'm passionate to do. And I brought my spirit, my soul, and my body was present. And it enabled me to be all of who I am
Yeah.
and hold space and understand what was presented, because you never know what type of clientele you're going to get, what their story is, what their
That's it.
circumstance will be.
Yeah.
If you're not fully resourceful, I would say be resourceful before you do any such work. And know what you believe and know what you fully overstand
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
before you deal with our people, because the the work is life changing.
Yeah.
You can take someone from wanting to unalive themselves
Yeah.
to actually empowering themselves, which for me, ethically and morally, come with your A game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, it was a breathtaking experience for me, to put it like that. And I want to do that again. I just want more. I want more of it. I want more. And I was so happy. I felt like I was walking in purpose in my
Yeah.
assignment. It is not just being a practitioner is not just a job, it's a calling.
It's a calling. Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to be called into the work,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's too it's too deep, too rich, too wide, too high for you to go in with only an intellectual understanding.
Yeah.
It really
And
is.
there is no Western textbook that can deal with this. There
No,
is no Western textbook that can handle this. What those of the global majority are carrying, have been through, experience on a day-to-day, you cannot be rigid in any way, you know. And there were times when Marcus and I came off that training and we were just like, did we do that? You know, did we go there? Oh my gosh. And you said this, and then yeah, and you said this, and it was like, and did you hear what she said? And yeah, you know, your triad was an experience.
yes, definitely. And I think, you know, I would, there was an appointment for me to do it before, and I just wasn't in that space. And you honored my thoughts, my process, my moment, and said, no, okay, let's pause, let's reschedule. And I'm so glad we did.
Yeah,
I'm so glad we did, because what was required of me
yeah.
was not present in the first appointment. So it had to be rescheduled. And that is okay, because I was able to deliver with, you know,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And I think as well, you know, moving forward as well, it's that thing that, you know, you might think to yourself, all right, I've got a client in however long, you know, maybe I can just nip to the shocks, or maybe I can just get this done, or, you know, maybe I can just sort this out. Oh, it's all right. It's Sarah. We've had 3 sessions already anyway, so she knows me. We know each other. You know, you never know what that client's going to bring.
Right.
You never know where they are.
That's right.
Yeah. And if you can just catch them, their lead, and just go with them
Yes.
and
Yeah.
just help them smooth it out, because it's often those secondary losses. It's that the person's gone, but then it's the bang, the next bang, and the next bang, and the next bang that we're not always anticipating, you
Yeah.
know?
Never take it for granted. Never take it for granted. No matter how many sessions you've had with a client, that the next one is going to run like smoothly. There's no guarantees in this situation, because you don't know what the last week has thrown at them. You
Yeah,
don't know what the last hour has thrown at them.
yeah,
And here you are with yourself thinking, yeah, I've got it all together. But actually, the person going through the process is the most important person in the room. You are the
mm,
facilitator. You are there to hold space. They
mm,
bring the power to the session. You hold space and you guide them through it. And that's where the breakthrough happens. Rapport is vital.
yes,
You cannot come because I know all the answers, therefore I
yeah,
am going to deliver a session. No, you are not. You are going to lose that client very quickly.
yeah, yeah,
um, you know, and so when you understand that their content of the story and their
mm,
circumstances is theirs, and whatever they choose to share with you, count yourself privileged
yeah,
to have that information, and be
yeah,
mindful to navigate with great care, with great due diligence. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
definitely.
As I said before, you know, being in that death space when somebody is making their transition, it's an honorable place to be. It's alive. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
the room is alive. And I believe it's the same as well when I'm with a client, you know, and you're locked in and you're there with them. It's an honor. There are times when I've had clients in front of me, whether it be doing hypnotherapy, which is always death and grief and ancestor related, or whether it's just straight up grief work, to have somebody who looks at you and sees somebody that they can identify with,
yes.
that then gives them the permission to go wherever it is that they need to go without apology,
That's
to
right.
be taken on that journey with them, is an honor.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really did. Yeah. Need to go and lie
Absolutely.
down afterwards, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I can imagine you did. Yeah, yeah. We never know who's going to turn up, but when they do so with force and with truth and with healing, you know. So even though it was the triad, the healing still happened. And what I've often found when I'm working with clients as well is that it's helped me. There is something that they've said. There's been so many times when I've been working with somebody and I've been like, oh my gosh, that is
Yeah.
profound.
Yes. Take that note. Absolutely. And this is the thing, you know, this is the beautiful thing when you understand that not only are you pouring into them, they're
Mm,
pouring into you. We're,
yes.
we're brothers and sisters across the diaspora.
Mm,
We're standing together, shoulder to shoulder, holding hands, going, you know what?
yeah.
I've got you, you've got me. Let's go through this process together. And whatever is exchanged is supposed to be exchanged in that
That's
session.
it.
It's
Yeah.
I can't even like you. It's just there's no words. It has to be a calling. You have to be called to this work.
Yeah.
It's not light. It's not to be taken for granted. It's so I can't even. There is not a big enough word. I can't even. You know,
I
literally.
know. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and you should feel like you've given everything.
Yeah.
That's how you should come away feeling.
Yeah. Without taking on everything and
Without
being depleted at the same time. It's a
yes,
balance, isn't it?
absolutely.
Yeah. And it's a balance. I'll be honest, it's a balance that I was not able to achieve, which is why I started the training in the first place, because I was becoming overwhelmed
Right,
by the amount of people that were approaching me or saying, I've got this person, I've got that person for you. I can't do this on my own. I
right,
need as many grief practitioners on hand, you know. And I had a lot of them were saying, you know, but I'm not qualified. Oh, so nobody can come up to you and tell you this is what's happening with me. You're just going to turn around and say, I'm sorry, I don't have the qualifications. I'm going. You're crying, you're breaking down, your loved one has gone. No, we are all qualified,
that's
you
right.
know. And I don't believe that there are mistakes that are made that, you know, do not come with an intention or an opportunity to learn and grow. I personally believe in the perfection of everybody, you know. And I think that I might be the only person who will turn around to say, no, Sarah, you are perfect because you came to earth to do Sarah. I can't do Sarah. You
That's
do
right.
Sarah perfectly, you know.
That's
And all
right.
you do is strengthen Sarah and share Sarah. And so I thank you for coming on the training so that you can, so that I can um, facilitate the connection between you and other people so that you can share more of yourself and they too can share with you.
The assignment, I believe, when it's a divine assignment,
Mm-hmm.
such as this journey is, it's way bigger than
Mm.
us. It's way bigger and will outlive us. That's when
Yes.
you know it's a divine assignment. If
Yeah.
it's just something you've just thought up and you know and you can handle it and you can manage it, that's on your own understanding. But when you're gifted with something like this mandate,
Yeah.
you have to have an army.
Yeah.
You have to have an army because there are how many people in our world right now who look like us and need help.
Yeah.
You cannot do it for every single soul.
Yeah.
It's near on impossible.
Yeah.
And you, even in the trying to do that, learned several lessons and came
Mm.
to several truths that actually, as much as I want to and I wish to with everything within me, I know that I cannot be fully present for every single individual. And
Yes.
therefore the army is born.
That's it. Yeah.
You know?
And that's where I now find my strength, you know. Um, Working in silos is never going to work. I actually gave a speech at a conference back in May, June, and you know, I was the only, I suppose, you know, fully black person in the room. But I said we're all doing near enough the same work, but we're all doing it in silos. And it's not about what color you are or, you know, where you're coming from. We've heard the call.
That's right.
And it's that same calling that you've mentioned, you know. the advantage that we have is that we know how to work with those of the global majority because we've lived in this country and we've experienced the sufferation, you
Yeah.
know, and we carry it too. And so, you know, whilst the training is available to everybody, it just comes with, I think, a responsibility and a very real willingness to open yourself up and be prepared to hear something that you're not used to hearing, you
Yeah.
know?
And I also want to say that it's not something that if you like the sound of it, that's not enough.
Mm,
I've shared it
mm,
with a friend and I said, this is what, oh yeah, but I'd like to do that. I said, but you're busy with however many other things right now.
yeah.
And with all the best will in the world, you're not, because it's deeper than just me mentioning what it's about and what I did and where I am on the journey. You've got to be called because something
Mm-hmm.
you hear that sounds nice and
Mm,
sounds enriching, that's
mm,
great. But check with your soul. Check with
mm.
yourself and see, because it's not everybody's calling.
No, no.
And
Yeah,
those that are selected for purpose because
yeah,
of a higher purpose.
yeah,
It's not to be taken lightly, is what I wanted to say.
yeah. You're right. You're right there. And that's why attending the sessions and getting the homework done and just being in the moment was so vital because there were so many different nuances, so
Yeah.
many different accents, and how do I put this? There were things that Marcus would bring into the training, and I would be like, "Are you that?"
Yeah, it's real.
And
For
he would
real.
come away and he would say, well, "I'm still learning. I'm learning from you." And I'm like, "But you sound like a professional," you know?
Yes, yes, yes. It was a great melody having both of you together to do it. It really was.
Yeah.
And you didn't know what to expect. So to be at the insights that we got, and
Mm.
it was worth
Oh,
every penny
thank
and
you.
more. It really
Thank
was.
you. Okay. All right. Well, we are going to be wrapping up shortly, soon, but we were speaking about secondary loss.
Yes.
Yes. So if you were to take something away from the training or from the book, Tapestries of Grief, which is there and available on Amazon. If you are looking for it on Amazon, please do it this way. All right. Put in the search Laura D. Pusey and then see what comes up. And then tap on the name Laura D. Pusey, and then the books will come up. All right. An original copy of My Life's Tapestry may come up, but you'll see there written in blue or something, it will say Laura D. Pusey. Tap on that, find the book Tapestries of Grief and buy it and write in it and do the work and scribble and make your notes and don't lose the book like one of our sisters did and she was heartbroken. Oh, my notes were in there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's the grief and bereavement Bible.
I think so.
It really,
I think so.
it
Humbly
really
speaking.
this
Yeah.
the way that it's written is such an easy read,
Yeah.
and it relates to the everyday Joe as well as the man, whoever is, Fortnum and Mason, whoever,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
it,
Yeah.
it's written with soul, with heart,
It
and
is.
I recommend it to every and everybody who talks to me about grief.
Oh, thank
I
you.
really, really do. I bought it for people. It's
Mm.
something that you've dared to be different. You've dared to step out
Yeah.
and stand
Yeah.
up. And he
Yes.
who stands up for something becomes the topic.
Yeah.
So do
Yeah.
not be afraid if you get opposition. Do not be dismayed if you feel like people don't understand you or
Yeah.
whatever, because at the end of the day, this is the time and the season for such to be
Mm.
brought forward to the fore.
Thank
You
you.
know,
Yeah.
and I wanted to say that because
Thank you.
it's gonna outlive you in
Mm.
this realm. You
Yeah.
know, grandchildren, great grandchildren, neighbors, friends, everyone. who comes into contact with this will learn and take something away. For me, to break down the different types of grief, what that was all about. Secondary grief, I'm grieving for whatever it is. Why do I feel this and that is impacted? Why do I feel that there's something else that I'm now lost? Why do I feel because of this? This is crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
how
to, yeah.
It's, why did she, I don't know, why did did you see Mavis this morning? Mavis kicked the cat. Why did she kick the cat? Nobody realizes, this is the anniversary. This is the 2nd year anniversary, 10th year anniversary. And she's just got something through the post that has just impacted upon it even more, And the book is really controversial. After the first 3 chapters are out of the way, I really go in because a lot of the times that people of African and Caribbean and diaspora backgrounds are featured in the media, oftentimes it's not in a positive setting. But nobody is thinking that actually maybe there's a loss there, or a generational something that has been carried down that is playing out in this lifetime to be healed, So oftentimes it's the scorn is there. It's just on the tip of the tongue. It's waiting to be unleashed. And sometimes it's true what you have just said earlier on. Sometimes we just actually maybe, and we ourselves may look at our brothers and sisters and be like, oh my, why,
Yeah.
Sometimes we just have to sit back actually and take that time and be forgiving and be loving and just remember this is a journey. Right. And this journey started well over 400 years ago. And this soul that you spoke of before isn't necessarily just 400 plus years old. It's lifetimes and generations and lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes going back, And then on top of that, over a minimum of 12 generations back, we've got 4,096 ancestors whose bloodlines run through us,
There's a few. Yeah.
Just a few, just a few personalities and past lives and all sorts. And that can really be messing with a person. And if we're coming from a belief or an overstanding or an understanding that this has to be this way and that has to be that way, and you don't do this, that, then then you're doing yourself and everybody around you a disservice. Yeah. Okay, rant over. Sarah, it's been a privilege speaking with you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Can we do it again maybe one day?
Whenever you're ready.
Perfect.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Well, we do have other grief practitioners, D.I.P.ism grief practitioners, who are also going to be coming through as well for discussions like this. It would be really nice if anybody has heard something that interests them from this conversation. It would be great if you could click that QR code. That will take you to the website where we have the courses for understanding grief. What is grief? Knowing what grief is. That's the basic course. If you would like to have a session with one of our grief practitioners, then go to www.D.I.P.ism.com. That's D.I.P.ism.com. And make your booking, get in contact. What's the word? Make your inquiries. Sarah, how do we get in contact with you?
Okay, so social media. I guess everybody's on social media, so one way or another. Facebook, it's Sarah Baptiste. And on Instagram, it's Replenish Life. Okay. On TikTok, it's Replenish Life Coach.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So as well as being a grief practitioner, you are a life coach?
Yes, I am.
You are. Perfect. Okay.
And my focus is estrangement. So what that looks like for people of faith and people not of faith. What does it look like for us? Again, back to the who am I? That's what I want people to see. I want the breakthrough for you. I want you to have that self-realization that no matter what has gone on around me, I am important, I am full of purpose, and I am now. And I want you to, connect with me, and we'll do the work. We'll do the work together. I've been through the process. I'm going through it, and
Still doesn't stop, does it?
no, as long as you're on this realm, it continues. And I I'm on the journey, and I want to be able to bring life and support and help to so many others. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah.